Three, two, one. Hello, everyone. This is me, Josh Dev, and welcome to the very first learning series that I created. So, this is called Building Your First End to End Data Portfolio. And yes, I'm gonna help you out make your first data project na pwede niyong gamitin sa inyong portfolio. And of course, you can showcase this to potential recruiters and potential clients if you are a freelancer. Okay, so this is just the first episode. We're going to be talking about the introduction to this project and the actual project that we are going to work on. So, let's talk about muna yung series na gagawin natin. So, ano ba yung mga i-cover natin sa series na to? So, first, this is going to be a live it's going to be a series of live learning sessions na kung saan mag-build tayo ng end-to-end data project. So when I say end-to-end data project, I'm talking about the full business intelligence framework. So that includes creation of data pipelines that scrapes data um, from different sources, do some pre-processing and loading that to the data warehouse. So that's your um, ETL pipeline. And we also do presentation through dashboards, and we are also going to be doing some analytics. So that covers data analysis as well as machine learning modeling. So we are going to do those projects or those steps by phase. So sa bawat episode, gagawa tayo ng isang project. Alright? And this is going to be a hands-on experience para maranasan natin kung paano maging isang data engineer, data analyst, and data scientist. So yung mga usual na ginagawa nila on a day-to-day task, yun yung gagawin natin sa series na to. Alright? More on the emphasis on the data engineering side, pero I'm gonna be making sure that we are gonna do some things for all of these three main data roles. So these projects that we are going to work on are, to me, I mean, that I would consider these as simple projects, but these are sufficient enough um, para maranasan natin yung real world scenarios. So naglagay lang ako ng konting complexity para mas ma-replicate natin yung typical na ginagawa ng mga roles na to sa actual na tasks na ginagawa nila. Alright? So we will explore several tech stacks. So gagamitin natin si Python for creating extract program. So ito yung gagamitin natin para makapag-download ng CSV files from an online source. At gagamitin natin si Python for data analysis and machine learning model. PostgreSQL is what we are going to use as our data warehouse. So lahat ng mga data na kinukuha natin, dito natin siya i-store. Gagamit tayo ng SSIS as our data integration platform or para sa ating ETL, and Power BI naman para sa ating data visualization. So, yan, ito yung magiging coverage ng ating series, and I hope that it will help you identify yung career track na gusto nyo i-pursue. So right now, you might still be confused about the career tracks we have in a data team or data different data roles that we have. So I hope that this will help you experience what each role is doing para malaman nyo rin kung saan kayo mas nababagay at kung saan mas aligned yung skills na meron kayo. Okay? So with that, allow me to share with you the project that we are going to work on. So this is just going to be the big picture that we are going to work on. So it's going to be an on-premise data pipeline, API, and reporting and analytics. So on-premise because locally hosted lang siya. Hindi natin siya i-host on the cloud. So para ma-experience natin kung paano i-set up lahat from scratch. Alright? So ito yung gagawin nating project. So for the data pipeline, Ang gagawin lang natin dito, so let me just show my laser pointer. So we have online sources na kung saan mga galing ang ating mga CSV files, and we are going to download them using Python. Then our Python program will upload those CSV files papuntang FTP server. I'll talk more about FTP server once we get into um, this episode kung saan natin gagawin tong portion na to. So this is going to be our first project. Alright? After that, gagawa naman tayo ng ETL pipeline using SSIS. We will extract the data from the FTP server, transform it, at ilo-load natin siya kay PostgreSQL database, which will be our data warehouse. So lahat ng yung gagawin kay SQL Server Integration Services or SSIS. Yan. So if you are not yet familiar with SSIS, okay lang siya. I will cover the basics that we can, that you need to know para magamit siya. And to tell you honestly, we can all do these things using Python alone. Pero I want you guys to also experience using a data integration platform kasi not all data engineers are using Python. Some of them are using data integration tools. So, medyo may mga ganong tools tayo. So, marami tayong tools na ginagamit. So, many are using Python. Some are using data integration platform. Some are using other tools. But these are the tools that we normally see in the market naman. So, ayan. Okay. So, after we created the data pipeline, gagawin natin yung API natin. Pero let's talk about the API muna. So, do we really, or is there any data role na gumagawa talaga ng API? Well, in the actual sense or in the actual coverage or job description ng tatlong roles na meron tayo, wala talaga sa kanila ang nagde-deploy ng API. Unless of course it's really needed sa kanilang data sa mga projects na meron sa kanila. For example, for data engineers, there could be a data pipeline na kailangan i-configure yung settings niya every now and then. So, para mas mapadali yung process, gumawa na lang ng API. So, that could be a process. Pero it's not really a direct task that data engineers are doing. But I still want to discuss this section para magkaroon din kayo ng other opportunities of learning the back-end side or creation of other things other than data itself. So para pwede nyo rin ma-explore kung paano maging back-end developer if you want to. Alright? And last but not the least, we're going to build the reporting and analytics framework of the process. So, wala na tayong connection sa dalawang ito kung napapansin nyo. Kasi yung dataset na gagamitin natin dito ay iba na. Gagamitin pa rin natin si Postgres, pero yung data source natin or data set na gagamitin natin ay magkaiba. Gagamit tayo ng data set na mas aligned sa use case natin for dashboard and machine learning. So, yeah. So we have Power BI, which pulls data from Postgre, and we will display that through a dashboard. It's going to be automatically refreshed via a scheduled refresh. So I'll talk about that. And Python naman for machine learning pipeline. So nagamit tayo ng sklearn to build that to build that machine learning pipeline. So this is just the big picture of what we are going to do. I've pointed out some of the projects that we're gonna be working on. So let's itemize naman yung dates kung kailan natin sila gagawin. Okay, so right now we are already having the first episode, which is introduction and project overview. So next week, tatalakayin natin yung version control and version or virtual environment for data professionals. So, tuturo ko lang sa inyo yung parang pinaka-basic at yung essentials sa kailangan yung malaman for version control in Git and GitHub, tsaka virtual environment in Python. Okay, then we are going to build the first project, and that is extract program in Python. So, gagamit tayo ng Python to extract data from the web, and we're going to push that to the FTP server na sinabi ko kanina. Alright? Okay, after this, gagamitin natin si SSIS para makapag-build tayo ng data pipeline that downloads data from FTP server papunta sa PostgreSQL database natin. Alright? And after that, gagawa na tayo ng API. So this is a screening API, and I'll tell you more about the process na gagawin natin by Feb 24. Kasi diyan ko na-explain yung pinaka-process ng gagawin natin project, yung overview ng gagawin natin. Then come March 16, we are going to have data modeling and visualization using Power BI. So I'll talk about data modeling as well as Power Query then, which are helpful, which is a helpful tool or supplement kay Power BI. So yun yung ginagamit natin for a little bit of a transformation. But I'll focus more on data modeling part of Power BI. Then after that, we are going to talk about supervised machine learning and regression analysis. So, pag-uusapan natin yung supervised machine learning, kung paano siya nag-work at kung anong ginagawa ba talaga doon. And in-depth regression analysis. So, using linear regression on a simple dataset. So, i-dissect natin yung mga ginagawa natin doon sa isang model na yun. And lastly, gagawa tayo ng machine learning pipeline gamit ni sklearn. Alright? So these are the projects that we are going to work on from Feb 24 or maybe next week, Feb 10, hanggang March 30. So I hope that you guys are excited here kasi once na matapos itong projects na to, you already have a solid portfolio that you can present to recruiters and to potential clients. Alright, I'll talk more about as well kung paano siya isa-save and kung paano niya siya i-store. So, more on that as we go along. Alright? Okay, so these are the things that you can expect from this project. Now, I want to set some expectations from you guys. Okay? So you should know the fundamentals of Python and SQL. So for Python, data types, functions, hanggang classes. I hope na familiar na kayo doon and at least confident na kayong mag-code kay Python. And for SQL, select, create, delete, yung mga crude function lang, okay na. You don't need to master the administrative parts of SQL, yung mga deny, revoke, mga ganun. So, more on crude functions lang tayo. Okay? And at the end of every episode, magkakaroon kayo ng activities. So, yung activities na ito, gagawin nyo siya and isi-share nyo yung output ng ginawa nyo. So, I am planning to put up a Discord server para doon na lang tayo magkaroon ng isang single na link kung saan nyo share yung mga projects nyo. But yeah, I'm just thinking out loud, pero maybe we can do that. Demo source codes will only be shared after the series. Yung bawat episode natin recorded siya. So I want you guys to make use of the recording, and habang nanonood kayo, follow along. So for example, nanonood kayo, may nagko-code, do it. Pause nyo muna siya, tapos gawin nyo on your own. Para at the same time, ginagawa nyo pa rin siya. Right? The reason why I don't want to post the source codes right away is that ayokong i-copy-paste nyo lang. Alright? Gusto kong i-build na siya from scratch din. This is how you build or how you practice what you already know. So if hindi pa kayo ganun ka-confident kay Python or SQL, try to go back to the basics. will share later on yung mga references that I have already created before para magkaroon kayo ng konting background dun sa Python and SQL. I think those are sufficient naman para sa projects na gagawin natin sa series na ito. Okay? So again, meron kayong gagawing projects at gagawin nyo siya and isi-share nyo siya. Okay? So you are also free to add this project to your resume. Again, this is our purpose. I want you guys to build this project para ma-share nyo sa iba. Okay? I'm also gonna be, so we will also utilize LinkedIn para magamit nyo rin siya or para makapag-share din kayo dun sa LinkedIn for potential recruiters. Okay? And you're always free to send me a message for any questions about this project. All right? So things that you need to install on your machine. So of course, you need Python. No specific version, but at least 3.9 and up. Pwede nyong gamitin yung Anaconda. Although di ko siya ginagamit, pero you can use that. VS Code is optional, pero this is what I'm going to use as text editor. You can use Sublime or you can use JetBrains if medyo may budget kayo. Ayan. Google Colab, I don't recommend that for now kasi we are going to create scripts, not Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so medyo may konting setup lang kayong kailangan gawin para makapag-install ng SSIS. So kailangan nyo mag-install ng SQL Server 2022, Developer Edition, Visual Studio, tsaka SQL Server Data Tools. So medyo heavy yung pag-set up kay kay Visual Studio. Again, this is for SSIS. Alright? And you need to download Postgre kasi ito yung gagamitin natin database. Magagawa din ako ng pahapyaw na SQL Server as database natin para in case na masyadong dalawang database na kasi yung gagamitin nyo. So, baka masyadong bombarded naman yung laptop nyo. So, ipapakita ko rin ng pahapyaw kung paano siya ginagawa with SQL Server as our data warehouse. So, yun. And last thing that you need is Power BI Desktop. So there, these are the tools that you need to install on your machine. Ayan. So, ayan. I hope that you can install it on your own already kasi hindi ko nagagawa siya ng references. But again, if you have any questions about these, let me know. I'll help you out on that. Okay, so some references to help you get started. So I have here the Python crash course. This covers data types, creation of functions, and classes. So gumawa rin ako ng isang maliit na program dito, console program. And I also have Python virtual environment session. So you might want to look into that para ready na kayo next time na mag-discuss tayo ng Python virtual environment. SQL crash course, I covered the CRUD functions here, so you might want to look into this. And I've also built an ETL pipeline already before. Nag-demo rin ako for that. So ayan, panoorin nyo na lang siya para magkaroon na kayo ng konting background on what we do using SSIS. At gumawa rin ako ng Power BI Fundamentals learning session before. So again, mga previous sessions ko lang siya, but these are already sufficient enough for you to continue on this series. Again, we are not going to cover any fundamentals here. So I hope that you guys take these learning sessions muna before you get into this series. Alright, so I think that's just all for today's episode. So I just talked about the introduction to this project and the overview of what we are going to build. So next week, it's going to be a live session. The session natin would be about virtual environments and version control using Git and GitHub. So I hope to see you guys next week. And this has been Josh, and see you guys next week.